Okay, so we have to write some important points, correct? We had to see some important points in solenoid. We will finish that and then we'll start with the toroid then. So what are the important points? And then we'll revise a little bit of whatever we have studied yesterday, okay? And then we will start with the toroid. So what is the important point in solenoid you have to understand is there were a few major points that you should remember. One is that this point B, okay, for ideal solenoid, the magnetic field point outside solenoid is zero. So this is a very important point that you should understand. The reason we have discussed yesterday. Yesterday we had already discussed the reason behind this, and this is an important point that outside the solenoid, okay, the magnetic field will be zero, and this is only true for the ideal solenoid. For real solenoid, this is not true. For real solenoids, this is not true. But for ideal solenoids, the magnetic field at outside points will be considered to be zero. And if you see the construction of the solenoid, so this length should be very, very large as compared to D. This length should be very, very large as compared to the D, this point. Now, after this, we had seen this result. You should be aware of what is small n here. You should be aware of what is small n. And you should be also aware of what is capital N here. Capital N and small n are not the same thing. Capital N and small n are not the same thing. They are the two different things. Small n is number of turns per unit length, whereas capital N is number of turns only. It is number of turns only. Okay. Now, after this, the very important point about the solenoid is that the magnetic field inside the solenoid is there. Okay, outside is zero that we have studied. Now, the magnetic field inside the solenoid is what? Uniform. This is a very, very important point that I'm writing in a note. Magnetic field inside the solenoid is uniform. Now, if I say uniform magnetic field, okay, so what does this means? What does this means? Saying that the field is uniform, this means that the value and the direction of magnetic field at each and every point will be same. Let us try to understand this point. Suppose this is the solenoid. Okay, this is a solenoid. So everywhere you will be having a magnetic field lines like this. Everywhere you will be having a magnetic field lines like this. And these will be at equidistant. Okay, these will be equidistant. It will be not like here you will draw two close lines and here you will draw two distant lines. This is not correct. This is not correct. Understood? So this is the correct thing. The magnetic field lines will be along the same direction at every point and it will have a same magnitude everywhere. That means if I take a point here, if I take a point here, the value of magnetic field, suppose this is 0.2 and this is 0.1, so B1 and B2. So B1 must be equal to B2 and both magnetic field directions are along the same line, so that is the meaning of uniform. So the magnetic field inside the solenoid is uniform. Uniform magnetic field means same in magnitude everywhere and same in direction everywhere. Same in magnitude everywhere and same in direction everywhere. Is that okay? Now we are going to see the toroid. Now we are going to see the toroid. So a toroid would look somewhat like this. A toroid would look somewhat like this. You can see in the figure. A toroid would look somewhat like this. Fine. Now, if you see this toroid, okay, so I don't know how many of you would have seen this practically. Okay, so this structure, this toroid is used in inductors, okay, power inductors and transformers also. Okay, these are used in inductors, power inductors and transformers. What are inductors? What is transformer? We will study afterwards. Okay, not now. We will study afterwards. But there are so many uses of this toroid, and the structure is like this. So if you want to define that, if in exam they ask you what is a toroid, so how you are going to define it? That a toroid is a coil, okay, which is wounded, okay, which is wounded over a like a donut shaped core, okay. It is kind of a donut shaped core. Yes or no? So it is a toroid. You can draw the figure, and you can also say that when the infinitely long solenoids is joined end to end, when an infinitely long solenoid is joined end to end, then what you will have? You will have a toroid. Okay. Now there is a constraint in this. There is a constraint as per the design constraint, means dimensions. Okay, we have to see its dimension. Now here we have another figure. Okay, just see. Okay, I've tried to draw 2D cross section of the toroid over here. Now the total number of turns, the wire, okay, you see the wiring? The red color denotes the wiring, and the direction of current is also shown to you. Direction of current is also shown to you. So the number of turns on this toroid are n. Number of turns on this toroid are n. Number of turns on the toroid are n. Now I told you just now that there is a dimensions. Okay, the dimensions that we have to say. So if you can see this figure here, also I have drawn one figure. Okay, so that we can see the figure proper dimensions properly. So if you see this line, okay, up to center, okay. So this is called as capital R. This capital R is actually called as average radius of toroid. Okay, this is called as average radius of toroid. This is called as average radius of toroid. Correct? This R is average radius of toroid. Average radius of toroid. Fine. Now, if I take this radius, suppose this is also a circle only, na? This is also a cross section. This is also a cross section. Correct? So if I take this radius, can you see it? If I take this radius, compared to here, if I take this radius, which is small r, Okay. So this small r is what? This small r is nothing but core radius. This is called as core radius. This is called as core radius. Fine. And this core radius, actually, this small r must be very, very less, than capital R, average radius of the toroid. It must be very, very less than the average radius of the toroid. So this is the construction, how you have to construct. Okay, this a toroid. So same way as solenoids, in solenoid the length is very large, the diameter is less. Here the radius, the average radius is more, and the core radius is small. So what is the meaning of core radius? What is the average radius? Now you know everything. Okay. Now here if you see, here we have made a wiring. Okay. We have to calculate the magnetic field at the point. Okay, at the center. We have to calculate the magnetic field at inside points. Okay, inside somewhere here. Okay, inside we have to calculate the magnetic field. So this is a solenoid which is joined end to end. This is a solenoid which is joined end to end. So if I say The magnetic field outside the toroid will be also what? 0. Here also what you have to understand that the magnetic field outside the toroid is also 0. So one more important point that we get from here is that magnetic field outside toroid is 0. So if I take a magnetic field in this region, or if I take a magnetic field outside, okay, so it's always 0. It's always 0. Okay, you will have a magnetic field only inside the toroid. So let us apply Ampere's circuital law. Let us apply Ampere's circuital law and try to find out the magnetic field over there. Remember this capital N. What is this capital N? Capital N is total number of turns. Here we are not taking a small n. Here I'm not taking a small n because this is end to end. So you can count the number of turns. You can count the total number of turns over here. Okay. So here capital N is the total number of turns on the coil. So talking of total number of turns, so this means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, like that. So capital N is having a value 14 over here. Can you understand this point? The capital of. Can you understand that point? Okay. So now we are going to apply Ampere's circuital law over here, and then we will find out the magnetic field. So what is Ampere's circuital law? We have line integral of B dot dl is equals to mu naught I enclosed. Mu naught I enclosed. Now for this we have to take a loop. How you will take a loop? How you will take a loop? So the loop is here. This line is only the loop. Okay. Can you understand how I'm taking the loop? Suppose this is a tube. This structure is a tube. This structure is a tube. Suppose this one. Okay. Now within this structure, you have a line like this. Okay. You are imagining a line from its between. Okay. So that will be considered as a loop now. Okay. That will be considered as the loop. So here I'm having this as my loop. Here, this is my loop. Okay. I hope you can visualize how the loop has been taken. Okay. And the rings will be like this. The rings will be like this. Okay. The rings are like this. Understood? The rings are like this. The rings are like this. The rings are like this. And within this ring, you are having the loop. Within this ring, you are having the loop. Is it okay? Understood? So, if there are total n number of loops, okay, so total number of loops are how many? Total loops or coil, how many are there? Or better I write turn, total number of turns, because we have written turn over there. So we will be writing only turn. So total turns are how much? N. Okay. If one turn has I current, this implies n turns will have Ni current. Yes or no? It will have Ni current. So total amount of current enclosed. So current enclosed is nothing but N into I. Total amount of current enclosed is N into I, capital N into I. Now I can substitute this enclosed current value in the equation 1. Okay, equation 1 is this, and this is equation 2, suppose. So equation 2 I can substitute in equation 1 and then see what will I get. I can take B outside, I can integrate for dl. Then we will have mu naught N into I. Okay, integrating dl. If I integrate dl is what? dl is this length. dl is this complete length. What is this length? What is this length? This length is 2 pi into capital R. This length is 2 pi into capital R. Correct? So magnetic field B will be written as mu naught Ni by capital 2 pi R. Sorry, it will be 2 pi R. Okay. Now N by 2 pi R is what? Can I say it is the length of toroid? Can I say it is the length of toroid? Sorry, not length of the toroid. Instead, this is nothing but small n. Okay. Or I can say capital N divided by L. What is L? L is the length of the toroid. Okay. So this can be given as small n. So what is a small n value now? What is a small n value now? A small n value becomes capital N by L, which is equals to n divided by 2 pi R. So I can substitute this value over here and we will get B is equals to mu naught into Ni. What is N over here? Capital N by 2 pi R. Capital N by 2 pi R. I hope you have understood this point. Okay. So this was all about the toroid. This was all about the toroid. So in toroid, what you have to remember, one important thing is that magnetic field outside the toroid is zero. This is a very important statement. Like solenoid, outside points will be having magnetic field zero, so it will apply for the toroid also. So for toroid also, the magnetic field outside the points will be zero. Is it okay? If anybody is having any doubt now, you can ask. If anybody is having any doubt, you can ask now. If anybody is having any doubt, you can ask now. Nobody is having any doubt? A small n will be total number of turns divided by length. No? A small n will be total number of turns divided by the length. What will be the length of the toroid? If I cut the toroid and open it, okay, I can, if I cut the toroid and if I stretch it, okay, so what will be the length? Will it be 2 pi R? And 2 pi R is what? Length of the toroid L. So total number of turns is capital N divided by L. Okay, total number of turns is what? N, capital N, and the length is 2 pi capital R. So that is L only, na? So what you are getting now? Total number of turns per unit length. So that is a small n now. That is a small n. Okay. So what you have to actually do, you have to cut the toroid and stretch it, elongate it. Not actually elongate it, but open it. When you open it, then what you will get? You will get a complete solenoid. So the length of the solenoid is L. The total number of turns is capital N. So capital N by small L is what? Small n. Okay. I hope you have understood now. So the next topic that we are going to see is consider force between two parallel current carrying wires. Now this topic is important. Okay, generally we have a question from this chapter. Okay, this topic, there are so many questions. Okay, we cannot say that you will have only from this topic, but yes, this is a most frequent topic asked. Okay, so this is a very, very important topic. So this, if you rate, it will be like twice a year or thrice a year a question comes from this topic. Okay, fine. So what we have zoomed over here is that we are having two parallel wires. Okay, two parallel wires, both are having current I1 and I2. Both are having current I1 and I2. Fine. They are going in the same direction. The currents are in same direction. Now they are infinitely long. Okay, they are infinitely long, so there is no doubt about their length. Okay, they are infinitely long. Okay, now you just tell me that what is a magnetic field. Okay, what will be the magnetic field due to wire 1 and what will be the magnetic field due to the wire 2? Yes, magnetic field due to wire 1 and magnetic field due to wire 2. Can I write it as, okay, the magnetic field due to wire 1 and wire 2, what will I write now? Due to 1, what you will write? I'll be writing it as mu naught I1 divided by, okay, 2 pi r, where r is the distance, okay. Similarly, if I take B2, magnetic field created by the wire 2, because it is a current carrying wire, so I can write it as mu2 into I2 divided by 2 pi r, where r is again a distance, okay. So what is r over here? R is a distance of any point from these wires. So what is r actually? This is distance of points from these wires. Is it okay? Now, can you tell me whether these wires, whether this wire and this wire, they will produce magnetic field or not? They will produce, okay. So the magnetic field produced by this wire, magnetic field produced by this wire, okay, this particular wire, magnetic field produced by this particular wire, if I consider the one in the black color, okay, what will be the direction of the magnetic field at these points, okay. I'm drawing the circles over here. You will tell me that what is the direction, okay. You will tell me what is the direction of magnetic field at these points. Yes, direction of magnetic field due to wire. Yes, due to black colored wire, what is the direction of magnetic field? I want the answers from you. Will it be outward or will it be inward to the screen? Will it be outward to the screen or will it be inward to the screen? Will it be outward to the screen or will it be inward to the screen? Yes. Okay. There are so many people who are saying outward to the screen. How outward to the screen you will get? How will you get outward to the screen? Yes. How will you get outward to the screen? It will be inward to the screen. It will be inward to the screen. Okay. So due to this black colored wire, you will be having magnetic field which will be inward to the screen. In this region, okay, it will be inward to the screen. Okay. On right hand side of the wire, it will be inward to the screen. On left hand side of the wire, it will be outward to the screen. It will be outward to the screen. Correct? Now, due to red colored wire, okay, the magnetic field direction for these points, due to red colored wire, will it be downward? Yes, will it be downward or will it be upward? For these wires, will it be downward or will it be upward? Yes, it will be inward. Okay. So it is inward over here. Fine. Now, for the points lying on in this region due to red color wire, what is the direction? Is it outward or is it inward? Is it outward or is it inward? Yes, it is outward. It will be outward like this. Is it okay? These will be outward like this. So can you see the pattern over here? Can you see the pattern over here? In this region, if you can see, okay, in this region if you can see, and in this region if you can see. So the direction of magnetic field is either outward or either inward. But within this region, it is one is outward, one is inward. Is it okay? One is inward or one is outward. This much is clear to all of you. Okay. Now we have to focus within this region. We have to focus within this region only. We have to focus within this region only. Is it okay? Now, just see here. The magnetic field created by this wire is B2, and magnetic field created by this wire is B1. B1 is external field. Okay, I'm writing over here now. I'm writing in points now. Just try to understand each point. Okay, try to understand each point. B1 is external field to B1 is external field to I2 wire, whereas B2 is external field to I1 wire. Correct or not? Did you understand? Because B1 field is created by first wire, so wire 2 will be having outside it, and since B1 is creating the wire 1 is creating the field, so B1 magnetic field will be external magnetic field for the wire 2. Similarly, B2 field will be external magnetic field to the wire 1. Now this implies force on wire 2, force on wire 2 will be due to B1 only. Correct? Yes or no? The force on wire 2 will be only due to what? B1 only. Similarly, the force on wire 1, okay, the force on wire 1 will be due to the field B2 only. Is it okay? Yes or no? Because external field will be only able to apply the force. Na? External field will be able to apply the force. So when I calculate the force on this wire, if I calculate the force on this wire, okay, so which fields I have to take? I have to take the red fields, red colored mark. If I have to calculate the force on this wire, so which colored field I will take? I will take the black colored field, because that's the external field to it. Due to itself field, the force is not considered here. Due to itself field, the force is not considered here. Okay. So if you have understood this point, so I'm going to write down the force on 1 and force on 2. Okay. So how do we write force now? Force on current carrying conductor. Force on current carrying conductor due to external magnetic field. Okay. Due to external magnetic field. Okay. So how do I write the force now? How do I write the force now? So what is the force value now? How do we write force? Force is written as BIL sine of theta. BIL sine of theta. Okay. The force is written as B. Okay. Okay. Wait. I L vector cross B vector. This is the direction of, this is how the force is given. Now, force on 2 due to 1. I'm writing force on 2 due to 1. Okay. Force on 2 due to 1. So I is the current flowing. I1 is the current flowing. Okay. Sorry. I2 is the current flowing. No? I2 is the current flowing. Force on 2. So force on 2 means current in 2. Force on 2 means current in 2. Okay. Length is will be given to you. Okay. So that length you will substitute that value. Length for length you will substitute. Okay. Then you will have a magnetic field. So magnetic field should be external or by the same. Magnetic field should be of the different wire. So if I'm calculating for 2, so the magnetic field should be put for 1. So force on 2 due to 1 is given as I2L into B1. Okay. Now the angle is 90 degree. There is no doubt about that. The length, if you see, the length vector, DL vector will be along this line. Okay. DL vector will be along this line, and magnetic field is just see here, cross. It is going inside. So it is 90 degree. Okay. So there is no doubt about that. So this is force on 2 due to 1. If I calculate force on 1 due to 2. Now, if I write force on 1 due to 2, can you write, tell me? Force on 1 due to 2. What I will write? Current in 1, length, and magnetic field due to 2. Is it okay? Now, can we substitute? Can we substitute the value of B1 and B2? Can we substitute the value of B1 and B2? So what I'm doing, I'll just take the value of B1 and B2 and put it here. Okay. So just see this. This is the value of B1 and B2 now. So what is the B2 value? Just see here. B2 value is over here. B2 value is over here. So what is that? Mu naught I. Sorry, B1 I have to substitute. Now B1 I have to substitute. Sorry, B1 I have to substitute. So B1 is over here. So mu naught into I1 divided by 2 pi R. This is force on 2 due to 1. Force on 1 due to 2 if I write. So I1 L. Now magnetic field B2. So B2 value is given as mu2 into I2 divided by 2 pi R. Correct? If you clearly see these values, if I rearrange this value, so what I am getting is mu naught by 2 pi R into I1, I2 into L. Force on 2 due to 1, what I am getting? Mu naught 2 pi R, okay, I1, I2 into L. Both the forces are different or same? They are same. They are not different. They are exactly same. They are not different values. They are exactly same. Okay. So from here I can say, this is F12 is equals to F21 now. The magnitudes are same. The magnitudes are same. The magnitudes are same. Okay. The magnitudes are same. We have to find out the direction now. We have to find out the direction also, because the force we have calculated, and force is a vector quantity. Force is a vector quantity. So just come here now again. So use your left hand thumb rule, or Fleming's left hand rule. Use your Fleming's left hand rule, okay? Or you can do the cross product, that is up to you. Better we do cross product here, that will be easy for us, okay? Now, for wire 1, for F12, okay, for F12, we will do L cross, okay, into B2, okay, ideal, okay. Do you remember ideal we do? Yes or no? Now, what is the direction of ideal? What is the value of ideal for wire? This is the ideal vector. This is ideal vector. This is ideal vector, okay. So ideal vector is along y-axis, okay. This is along y-axis, minus j cap. This is minus j cap, okay. Now, what is the direction of B2? B2 is this red color. B2 is this red color. So B2 is this red color. So if I write the direction, so this direction is plus J. This is plus J cap. For B2, what we have? For B2, it is minus K. For B2, it is what? Minus K. Minus K. Now, J cross minus K, what do I get? J cross minus K, what do I get? Sorry. B2 is towards plus. No, B2 is plus towards. Sorry. B2 is plus. B2 is this red colored, red colored. So red colored means what? It is coming towards you. Coming towards you means what? Positive. Coming towards you means positive. Coming towards you means positive. So J cap into K cap means what? Plus I cap. So the direction of magnetic field. So the direction of magnetic field, current force. Direction of force on this wire is along this. So this is the direction of F12. This is the direction of F12. Similarly, we will find out. The direction of F21 also. Let us do for F21 also. So F21 will be ideal cross B1 vector. Now ideal is again in plus y-axis. B1, where is B1? B1 now. B1 is this black color. Black color means going inside. Going inside means minus K. So plus J cap cross minus K cap. So what do I get? Minus of plus I cap. So this is minus I cap. Minus I cap. Correct? So what is the direction of F21 now? What is the direction of F21 now? Is this in this direction? F21. So these two wires are attracted by each other or repelled by each other? These two wires are attracted by each other or repelled by each other? They are attracted by each other. They are attracted by each other. And what is the force by which they are attracted? What is the force with which they are getting attracted? We have also calculated that. Okay, we have also calculated that. Now my question to you is, my question to all of you is that suppose if I change the direction of current, if I change the direction of current, okay, if I change the direction of current, will they attract each other or will they repel each other? If I change the direction of current now, instead of making this current to flow in same direction, what I'm doing now, the current here is in downward direction. What will happen? They will repel now. Okay, they will be now repelling each other. No attraction now. There will be repulsion. Okay, so I'm writing an important point over here. I'm writing an important point over here. Within note, I'm writing that. Within note, I'm writing that if we have same direction of current, I1 and I2, so the force will be attraction. The force will be attraction, and this is the force on 1 due to 2. This is the force on 2 due to 1. Okay. But if the direction of current is opposite, if the direction of current is opposite, this is I1, this is I2. Okay. So this is F12. Sorry, not F12 will be like, not like this. The direction will be here and the direction will be here. So this is the direction of F21 and this is the direction of F12. Okay, so here you will be having repulsion. But in both the cases, F12 must be equal to F21. In both the cases, the values must be same, but the direction will be opposite. Okay. So now with this, I will finish here. Okay. Remaining, there is one small topic. Okay. We'll cover it tomorrow. We will cover it tomorrow. Okay. Tomorrow we'll finish this chapter. Okay. Tomorrow we will finish this chapter. Now take the slides, and if anybody is having any doubt, you can ask. If any doubt is there, you can ask. So I wrote important point about this solenoid. So you better take this first. Meanwhile, if anybody is having any doubt, you can ask. See, whichever point I tell that this is an important topic, this is an important topic, so that is practical, actually important. Okay. So either you will get, suppose in board. So in board, there is a very high probability of having either solenoid, either toroid, or either the force between two parallel wires. Okay. There is a very high probability of these three. So any one will definitely come. Okay. So whichever topic I say that this is an important topic, so you have to focus on that. Okay. Okay, I'll check that. Okay, I will check that. The direction of I1, I'll check that. No, the direction is correct only. Direction of I1 and I2 is same. Correct. Okay. Two opposite direction. In repulsion, I1 and I2, they should be in opposite direction. Okay. If they are like this, just see here. If I make them like this, okay, the direction is like this, then still there will be attraction only. Okay. There will be not any repulsion. Still there will be attraction only. Understood? In this, when you will have repulsion, when one wire has a current like this and one wire has a current downward, then you will have a repulsion. Two wires flowing in opposite direction, repulsive force. Two wires having current in same direction, attractive force. Okay. So this was all about today. Yesterday I was not able to upload the homework. Okay. So today I'll give it, and tomorrow we are finishing this chapter. And one more thing, if you have any doubt, okay, if you have any doubt regarding the homework, whatever I have given, or regarding any question that you are solving during practice, okay, you can drop the message, okay, No need of writing the question on a paper and then sending it. You can just take the screenshot and send me. Okay. I don't say that I will be able to solve it there, then itself. Okay. As I see the message, no, it's not possible for me. I'll see the message and I'll try to reply that day itself. Okay. That day itself, I'll be trying to give you the solution. Okay. But I'll not promise that immediately I will give you the solution. Okay. So that is not possible for me. So if you have any doubt, you just drop a message. Okay. I'll leave it. The day itself, I will try. Okay. By the end of the day, I'll try to clear that doubt. Okay. Whatever homeworks till now I have given are all the DPPs that I had already given to you. Okay. Understood. Whatever homeworks till now I have given on Learnity, all the questions have been discussed, or these all are given before what I was giving in the classes. Okay. So the homeworks that I'm giving in Learnity are not different questions. Okay. So don't worry about that. Okay. Thank you.